Beloved, there is a reoccurring theme in the Bible. There is a reoccurring theme in the Bible that says the world walks in darkness. There are specific times, there are specific periods when the world walks in darkness. Those times when we feel as if we have little control over our own lives, when we think that we have little reason to believe and have hope for the future, time when we are living with economic uncertainty, time when we have concerns for our personal and public safety, times when we feel that there's no positive way or plan out of the darkness. A clear and poignant example of this time of darkness was when the Israelites were held captive in Egypt under the whip of the Pharaoh, and generations of good Hebrews were enslaved, marching out every morning and making bricks for the pyramid, having their women and their sisters and their daughters taken in, becoming part of harems and becoming household servants, and their children before their bones were strong, being taken out to muck in the mud and the straw. And no sense of relief and no sense of deliverance, and out of nowhere Moses came. Moses came, and Moses led them out of their distress, but into what? For they found themselves in the wilderness, and again worried about order and possibilities. And Moses went up the mountain, and Moses came down the mountain, and the crowd pushed in to get a word, to hear a word of hope, to get some sense of direction, some sense of order. And Moses brought down and presented to them the 10 Commandments, a series of very succinct laws, clear and rudimentary. These will keep the people safe. These will establish some communal living norms. These will put some parameters around so we will have a predictable, secure life. You shall not murder. That undermines the security of your society. You shall not steal. This is a bad idea for the community. You shall not take another one's husband or wives. That disrupts families. Leave them alone. You shall not abandon aged parents. You shall not abandon them when they get old and are irritating. You shall not smother them in their sleep. You shall not covet. You shall be greedy. Nothing good comes of this. You shall not lie. Alternative facts don't help the society. You shall not lie. And the body walked out of the darkness and into the light for a time. But about 1,500 years later, the people walked in darkness again. Again, they were enslaved. This time they were enslaved by debt, and they were enslaved by an oppressor. The Romans had come in, and they were under two conflicting governments. They had no voice. They had no hope. The occupying troops had no respect for them. They would slit your throats. They would slit your throats if they had any sense to feel threatened. The leaders were concerned only with lining their own pockets, and people were looking for deliverance. nowhere, Jesus appeared. And the crowds came to hear him. And the crowds amassed. They were enthralled. They wanted to hear a voice, a good, promising word. And Jesus went up the mount. And Jesus sat down on the mount. And Jesus called the people. Come, hear this. I bring you new commandments for a new age. And Jesus shared the Beatitudes, the 9 Beatitudes. And they were not as blunt as the 2x4 10 Commandments. They were more nuanced. They were more sophisticated for a more evolved people. Instead of thou shalt not, it was blessed are you who. The Beatitudes set up a new dynamic. Blessed are you who do these things. You are in God's favor as a result of your actions, and you will be rewarded in a specific way. So, for you who are meek, you will inherit the earth. For you who are pure in heart, you will see God. For you who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, yours will be the kingdom of heaven. Now, when biblical scholars study the Beatitudes, they generally suppose that the rewards Jesus promises, promises are to come in the next life. But they're to be delivered in the next life. They believe he is saying, in these dark times, act in these very spiritual, mature ways, even though the world is losing their mind all around you. Be brave. Now, your actions won't make much of a difference in the here and now, but later when you're in heaven, far removed from this chaos, you will be expansively rewarded. It's certainly true that Jesus is concerned about our eternal life. He wants to reconcile the whole world to the creating Father for all time, but Jesus is also committed to bringing that reconciliation closer and bringing it sooner. He speaks often and he speaks with passion about abundant life on earth, life without fear, life out of the darkness. So when Jesus says, blessed are you, when you act in this way, God will reward you. He means God will reward you here and now on earth, and then and there in heaven. And the here and now part is so ever reassuring. Jesus is saying, yes, in this world, people walk in darkness. But God is with you. And God provides light for that darkness. And that light is you. Turn on your light. Turn on your light and walk out of the darkness. This is the point of the Beatitudes. They give us an indication of the light God has given us to carry. They are lovely and they are holy lights, but they require some coaxing to get them to burn brightly. And they take some fanning to see their meaning and their effect. For example, the second beatitude on the list, blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Brothers and sisters, today people walk in darkness. It is a sad, dark time in our communities and in our nation and in the world. God's dream seems very, very far off. There is division in our one nation under God, indivisible with liberty for all. There is rancor and too many episodes where we're believing the worst of each other. There is real suffering. There is real suffering near and far away. And God blesses. God finds favor with those who mourn. Because mourners are those who look and see and acknowledge and hold the suffering. Those who mourn understand that it's not right and it's not God's plan to turn away and not be touched by another's anxiety and another's fear and another's precarious situation. It's not God's plan for us to be oblivious and look after only our own personal business. To mourn is to look straight into the face of grief and not be overcome. To mourn is to understand grief. And grief is just this. It's that when human will wants something it cannot have, something that it desires deeply, deeply, and it cannot have. We know grief when there is a death. A physical death or the death of a dream. We know grief and we mourn when we put a body in the grave. When we bury a marriage in divorce. When we walk away from a relationship because it's never, ever, ever going to be healthy. When at last we realized we will never be the writer or the ball player or the dancer, or even the mother we hope to be. To mourn is to grieve for ourselves and for those we love, but more than that, to mourn is to hold the suffering that shrouds the world in times of darkness. To mourn is to hold and to endure and to despair, but not give over to that despairing, to say, I can stand and I can bear this hard thing. I won't leave you, and I won't leave the world alone in its pain. And Jesus says, God finds favor with us when we mourn, and God rewards us by comforting us. And comforting means God sends us strength. Sends us strength so that we can carry the suffering and still be lifted up. Blessed are those who mourn that have the capacity to hold suffering and not look away and not leave others abandoned. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. They will not be in their mourning and their suffering alone. God will send strength. And, beloved, what is that strength? Jesus said, blessed are the mourn, for they will be comforted. And Jesus doesn't lie. What is the strength? So the strength is one another. The strength is the love of a loving community that reaches out and upholds you when you're carrying and holding the suffering. The love of others. The strength is when you come to work in the morning in those little bitty luminaries, and your heart just sings. The strength comes in surprising joys when you're holding that suffering and mourning. So last night I learned that a friend of mine in her congregation, this woman who was born in Iran, is baptized and goes to her church, and her husband is baptized and goes to her church, and their 3 little kids are baptized and goes to their church and goes to vacation Bible school, and they went home to Turan to visit their grandmother. And they can't come home today. They can't come home, and he can't work, and she can't work, and they don't know how they're going to survive. And I'm carrying that, and I'm mourning that. But in 8 weeks, we're going to have a new baby in our family. And there's joy. And God gives us strength. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. So, beloved, in this particular time of darkness, look to the Beatitudes. Look to the Beatitudes. Read them and see, where has God given you a particular light, and turn it on. Dispel the darkness just a bit, and be not afraid. God is with you, and God will give you what you need. He will recharge that light over and over again. He will bless you with the strength you need, and you will be blessed in this world and the next.